Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Tea with Rich, where this week we catch back up with Erik Dodier 3+ months into his retirement from PixelMEDIA / RafterOne. We broke this into two segments, and today we actually focus explicitly on what life has been like for Erik for the last 90 days. And in the second segment, we get into some pretty deep business talk about how we identified patterns and needs to change and mature over the last 30 years. But today it's all about Dode. It's all about Dode's schedule and how he's managing a schedule of freedom. So I hope you enjoy. Thanks, everyone. Good morning, everybody, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're on. Welcome to another episode of Tea with Rich. Today we are rejoined by a good friend of Rich's and I, and my former partner, Erik Dodier. We thought we would start an episode with 90 days into Erik's retirement, given he was T-1 day last time, and he probably want to make up for a little bit of the worry that he exhibited there. How you doing this morning, Erik?
Good. Yeah, I've gotten good feedback on our podcast, everybody that I bump into.
It definitely...
I think he looks pretty relaxed. I think 90 days have treated him well.
Yeah, I think he moisturized right before we did this too. So how many days? So how far are you actually in, Erik? Like how many actual days?
Yeah, so this is October 4th. What are you doing? Like January, middle of January, late January. So
20.
Yeah, 3.5 months. About right. Good quarterly update.
Yeah, good. I think that'll be great. Now, as usual, we'll freestyle this. But Rich, how are you doing down in sunny Mexico?
Things are good. It's nice and warm. I'm happy to be missing kind of the polar vortex in Chicago, so kind of cheating it. But no, it's been great. It's good.
It's warm today. I think it's like 22, but we were in the single digits for a little while.
Yeah, Chicago got below zero.
Are you in front of a window? Like, is that natural lighting that you have?
I'm in front of a window. It's 79 here.
Yeah.
Sorry to say that.
Yeah. I'm backed up to my window. I thought it would show the nice snowy trees and everything, but it's so bright behind me, but it's all good.
Yeah, we're not going to play with that. When we last...
I can lower those shades, T, if you prefer.
No, you're good. Everything looks good. You look perfect. You got a fancy light in front of you, offsetting the glare behind you, and I got some side light. In about 10 minutes, the sun should be around this corner. And then, Rich, I'll see if I can do in post-production, fix that little jaundicey thing you got going there.
I shaved my head, so you're probably getting some nice shine. It's good. I need a little,
We've got every version. You've got Rich, you're in the middle. I've been going tighter. It's just the more gray it gets, I don't like it.
Yeah, but you still have black around the edges. But yeah, that might be the shortest I've seen your beard in a while. But when you trim it, don't you look at yourself and be like, oh, I just took 5 years off me?
Yeah, but if I go right down to the skin, which it doesn't happen in a while, it looks weird. So I got to keep something.
I don't like myself. One day I'll shave just for the show, and I'll talk for 40 minutes.
That would be, we'll do a charity raise or something. We'll both shave for a show. That would be crazy.
Actually, that wouldn't be a bad idea. I wouldn't mind doing that, actually. I
don't know if I can do it.
Rich, it's funny because that's how I remember when we first met you, is you were clean shaven, and I mean, honestly, like a different person then, to be, in some ways.
Totally.
Like we all went through these changes, transformation.
Hey, Moses was a baby too. So Erik, we're like 90. We're basically like 114-ish days in. It's 3 weeks, so yeah, pretty close. 114 days. So bring us on the journey. So last time we talked to you, you were a day and a half away, and that was an awesome podcast, by the way. If you haven't listened to it and you're listening to this, you should go back and listen to that. I think it's episode 11, maybe, I forget, but. Well, let's hear it. So you retire on Friday. I assume you went into the office, right, on the 4th or whatever it was. Bring us up to date on what happened after the podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we talked about. I had plenty of time to think about what I was going to be doing and all that, so it wasn't like a sudden thing. But I think we talked about health related stuff, and my whole process was going to be just experiment, try different calendar, mix things up a little bit, just to let it. Jumble it all together and see what came out the other side. It's kind of settled into like what I call these kind of 4 buckets. And I only honestly started my brain organizing once you said, hey, we got to talk about this again soon. So I started thinking, all right, it's not neat and tidy. When your schedule's so flexible, it's not this perfectly neat and tidy thing, but there's kind of like the health, getting up early, doing all the health and red light and all that stuff we talked about, cold plunge and going to the gym and everything. So there's kind of that bucket. I've had time to like do some appointments to get my shoulder looked at and some other things that were kind of nagging. I had my first massage because it took a while to get on the schedule. Like not first ever, but first, just to get on her calendar and that rotation. So that's one area. So remember the golf thing, T? It actually came up during the podcast. I literally joined that place within a couple of weeks, and that's been my kind of like getaway and also meet with people like down there. I know you're in there too now, T.
Yeah. Coach Club for anyone listening.
Yeah, Coach's Club. It's a golf simulator spot.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you liking it?
I am, because I've never had that much confidence in my golf. I just didn't have time to play, but now it's right up the road. I go there a couple times a week, invite people to join me, and you can really practice, work on your handicap and all that stuff. I know, Rich, you have one in your house, right?
I do, in my basement in Chicago, yeah.
Yeah. So that's been another like, okay, I got time to fill. Let's do that. I've been over to UNH to where I went to school and talked about maybe teaching some sort of class.
That's cool.
Not an official. I want to do something that's a little more like professional skills, how to build your career. They've got some courses that are like 2-credit courses that they have industry professionals come in, and then kind of this real estate. I love getting into some of the real estate projects going around Portsmouth. So I'd say from a career-ish thing, that's been the area where I've spent some time. So it's kind of everything's in those buckets, and then just the kids have had sports. We took a trip to Costa Rica went to a surf camp in Costa Rica, and then went to St. Lucia for Christmas. So a couple of trips, health, golf, real estate. It's kind of in those areas. So T, and you know some of this, we've had some coffee, but yeah, that's kind of those buckets.
I can't wait to fucking dig in and unpack this shit, because you're only giving.
I'm totally just giving the highlights, but yeah.
So I love all of that, by the way. And yes, for Eric and I only live about 20 minutes away from each other, and we still do get together, Rich. Actually, Eric was here the other day. He's like, hey, you want to get together? I'm like, yeah. He goes, let's go to Roundabout, which is like this diner about a mile away from my house.
That's awesome.
And it's like, I feel like shit for 2 days after eating the food. So I had him come to the house, and I made him a breakfast sandwich, homemade English muffins, homemade sausage, the whole 9 yards, and a coffee. And I just put him at the end of the table. He's like, are you going to eat? I'm like, I already ate. I'm good. So
T, Roundabout is about a mile halfway from the office. That's where if we had to meet early morning or go get away from the office and kind of just sit at a booth. I love breakfast. I could eat breakfast all day. Like that was one of our spots. So it was kind of interesting. And then now that's even a mile from your house, T. Like,
yeah. I don't even know if it's a mile, probably half a mile, but it was the boardroom, because we knew we'd never see anybody we knew there. Right. So we could go there like 11 in the morning and basically have another breakfast.
Yeah. Some serious work talks there.
But I sit Eric down. I drop a sandwich in front of him, which is just like egg and cheese. And his first question is, where'd you get the English muffin? I'm like, I made it. He's like, what do you mean you made it? I'm like, no, like I made it. Like it came out of the oven. Like I milled my own flour. He's like, and the sausage is really good. I'm like, yeah, I made the sausage too. So
that's a little ridiculous, by the way. I'd be like, what do you mean you made the English muffin? Like, you just go to the store, you go to Whole Foods, buy it. What do you mean you made it? Like,
no, you can't. No,
you're kind of a
with
beast.
Multiple syllables, I don't buy.
You're kind of a beast. I mean, that's pretty amazing.
I'm not a beast. I am 1 year and 3 weeks into my sabbatical, which I don't know if we can even call it a fucking sabbatical at this point. Usually they don't last this long. And I'm bored as fuck. So now I'm milling my own flour and baking my own English muffins and making my own pasta from
I can
scratch.
tell you, I mean, come on, mine, I never really did the sabbatical. So good for you guys. But I mean, I was November of 21. I never made some fucking bread. That's all I'll say.
You're going to hate
I didn't make bread.
Hold on. You got that private chef money.
Do you have that, Rich?
So I don't have to make my own bread. That's a good point.
Hold on. You have a chef that comes to the house in Mexico and makes meals?
100%.
So you get... All right. That's why I do it. But I don't know how you haven't picked up any like bizarre hobbies. Now, you were at the wedding when Eric basically did the sort of best man-ish speech and listed off my 74 hobbies.
Yes.
But no, it was good. And we hang out a lot. But
I play golf, the hobby.
My point to all of that is to go back and dig in on Eric, not you, Rich. But I did like, you got that private money chef shit.
That was funny.
But
I'll
no,
tell you one
so-
thing though. This is an aside for you guys. And back, we didn't talk about couples, but maybe we'll dig into Eric on couples. I decided my wife always wanted to do dance lessons, so we have taken a couple salsa lessons down here in Mexico.
I want film of that. I want to start inserting clips into these podcasts. I think it'll.
But you know why? I went to this. I was in New York for a customer advisory board thing, and they brought a guy in that was talking about brain health. And I'm leading the witness here, but what do you think the number one thing for brain health was?
Sex.
Dancing. You wish it
Dancing.
was sex. Dancing.
Well, I think I was gonna say like playing instruments. I know like playing the piano and all that's good too.
Walking's supposed to be good, instruments, but they said number one, dance, because it's physical, but it also challenges your mind, to learn to actually dance. And so I was like, okay, I'll finally try this. And I never wanted to do it, but we had fun. It's hard. I sweat. I mean, it's crazy.
But like number one above like community involvement, engagement with friends, feeling fulfilled, like number one above
those are
everything?
all good things, but this one checked every box because you had the physical, you had the relationship, you had challenge your brain with something new, because like spontaneity and newness is supposed to be very good. So number one, I'll send you the book, but it's just one dude, so I'm like, all right, I'm going to finally try this.
I'm about 15 books behind in all of the books that are getting recommended to me. Luckily, they're all on Audible, but I'm not in the car enough to actually listen to them.
Yeah,
all.
that's a good point.
So I don't dance. Rich, I don't know if you dance or ever danced other than just shaking your ass and moving your feet. Eric
White man's overbite. That's my dance.
Yeah. Eric actually dances.
Yeah.
Like, he actually can get out there, and I've seen it
well,
pretty much everywhere.
It's kind of like you just got to get out there and kind of let loose, right? Like you got to let the inhibitions go.
TJ and I are both going like this.
Okay, so here's what's interesting, right? Of all the things that TJ has zero inhibitions about, he can't get out there and dance and just like relax, right? All the things I have inhibitions about, right? I'm like, fuck it, I'll go out there and dance. I don't care. So it's funny how like certain things,
This is why we get along. In another life, we'd be married.
Yeah, I had to kick off all the Christmas parties, with karaoke, with
Hold on. You didn't kick off karaoke. It took you 22 years to kick off karaoke. And hold on.
Well, wait a second. Go ahead.
Yeah, 100 Club. I remember it maybe 20 years.
It's the first time we had karaoke, I think.
I agree, but that was also your idea.
You had the first chance I got.
Stop it. Let's tell the truth. You were practicing that in your fucking basement on your karaoke machine for months before the Christmas party. Rich, what do you think the first karaoke song I ever heard him in a crowd sing?
You've lost that loving feeling.
No, good guess though. I'm a big.
That's a great one. And by the way, before I say the song, he fucking crushed it. And I'm not gonna lie.
Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
No, I bet I have it on my phone. A good deal of.
Yeah, but it's probably pretty choppy. Do you remember? Well, say what it is then. You remember what it is?
Warren Zevon, Werewolves of London. Dude,
so good.
Dude, you fucking slayed that. And I think the entire company and all the spouses were like, because, Rich, you gotta understand, for Eric to get up in front of there was probably 60 or 70 or 80 of us there at the time and just go full belt.
That's
awesome. Full belt. Like he had been
practicing. I think of Color of Money. That brings me back to Tom Cruise in Color of Money, right? Wasn't that Werewolves of London?
I think you know what's funny is it's actually, there's an Adam Sandler version of Werewolves of London, and I kind of liked his sort of little spin on it, but you're not wrong. If I know there's going to be karaoke at an upcoming event, I will pick a couple of songs, get them in my head, and listen to them over and over. Sometimes you get there and it never pans out, for whatever reason, but the other time was we did Vegas night, and I think we all dressed in Vegas mode, and I think I went as Elvis. Remember, I had a full
you literally bought a legit Vegas.
I think I opened with Viva Las Vegas, that one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I have pictures and video of that too. I have so many good things. I even have a video of when we did it at 3S Art Space on the stage, and all the boys got up and sang.
Oh, that's right. That was pretty good. Yeah, I forgot
about that. That's awesome. We used to do a holiday open house pre-COVID, right? And everyone would come over during the day on a Sunday, and we had karaoke. And Gertrude and I, we had Bare Naked Ladies, If I Had $1 Million.
Yeah.
And we would do a duet. We'd do that. That was our kind of close the whole party. Time for you all to go home because we sing so bad. So you're going to leave because your ears hurt.
Yes.
But the final line is, I'd be rich. And I am rich. So that was the big close. I'd be rich, and I'd be rich with your friendship. Get the fuck out of my house.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, good tie-in.
Singing and dancing are the two. Those are two things that I just can't see myself doing. I've actually thought about maybe going and getting lessons with Shannon and whatnot. She's like, babe, just shake your butt and just move your feet. I'm like, honey.
Well, now that you know it's good for your brain,
I know. Well, now that I know that, I might actually bite the bullet and quietly.
That's what I did. I never wanted
lessons
to,
and then surprise her at an event. You know who's been dying to fucking do a karaoke duet because he hears my voice recorded all the time? Actually, a lot of friends say, gee, you must sing well. I'm like, I've never sung in my life. Fucking DeMello. Brian DeMello is dying to find a song that we can duet and karaoke.
Yeah, well, there's musicians, Brownie, remember, Spire. There was a bunch of guys. They had a band.
But you should do Sonny and Cher. I mean, come on.
No, I'm not singing.
Great duet for you two.
If I ever sing, you guys better record it because I won't remember it. And I just can't, I can't fathom it. But
I mean,
anyway.
Come on, you and DeMello singing I Got You, Babe? That would be amazing. Come on.
No, I would. You know what I would do with Brian if I had the balls? I would do that Chris Stapleton, Justin Timberlake song they do. I don't even know what it's called, but
yeah, I know what you're saying.
I would take the Stapleton pot. I'd give him the JT pot because he likes to do the little dancing and shit. But anyway, let's get off of dancing and karaoke. I don't even know how we got to karaoke, but so Erik, let's kind of go back to your last day in the office. Like, why don't you talk about that, and then your first week of not being in the office. And because you and I talked a little bit about it, it's like this, like Sunday scaries don't exist all of a sudden. So talk about your last day and then like that first week or two, because it is a little weird to wake up and not have to check your phone constantly.
Yeah, I mean, I think the last day, again, I mean, I've been going to the office for a long time and not a lot of other people had been. So I'm there by myself generally. We had done the little post party over at Patty's where we used to hang out with some of the local people. We had done the call with I did a call with the folks in India, which was pretty cool. They had sent me something actually that was literally in the office in the mail that I ran across and grabbed while I was on the call with them. They're like, "Did you get the present we sent?" So and
what was the present?
So it was from the trip we took to India with the whole family. They took a picture and kind of created like a pencil sketch of it. It was really cool. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
And then I'm trying to think the last day. I mean, I knew I'd be going back. I left some of my stuff in the office. We're still over there once in a while, and I got to go there and pick up stuff every now and then. But
like
it just felt like kind of like, all right, this is it. Last day to officially pick up calls. But things have been winding down, so it doesn't feel as sudden, as you might think. The following week, it was sort of like trying to like stick to this schedule. And I kept trying to come up with this, what's the perfect day for Erik? What's the perfect schedule? And okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then the next day I'm like, well, I want to do this or I want to read. I mean, it was just kind of like a little, anything you want to do, you could just kind of like stop and do it. And pretty quickly you get this feeling like your days are going by kind of fast. And you're like, all these things I got going on. But that's what I mean. I settled into like these kind of bucketed areas. And what I also realized is if you don't plan out your week, you kind of like are stuck because the week comes and you're like, I got nothing planned. And most, you can't just like, you can't piece it together at that point. It's too open. So you almost need to be like, all right, I'm going to lock in this meeting. I'm going to go have coffee with this guy. I'm going to play golf at this time. And I feel like I'm in control of my calendar and I figured out where to slot things in. Cause I like to have my morning a little freer so I can kind of get on my computer, do some email, get back from the gym. I bought a sauna to go with my whole health experience, a little 2-person sauna. So I do that when I get back.
Your jet mask, red light, oxygenated.
Yeah.
Stairmaster.
It's just it's just relaxed. I will say that the moment that hit me the most was when we came back from that vacation in December, that first week after going to Costa Rica. By the way, is it Costa Rica or Costa Rica?
Depends if you're from Boston or not. If you're from Boston, it's Costa, and if you're from the rest of the U.S., it's Costa Rica.
I say Costa Rica, and I think my kids, and they're always like, Dad, it's Costa Rica. And then anyway. So, but you get back on like a Saturday, Sunday afternoon, and you're used to like having to dive back in and get ready to go back to work. And I'm like, I didn't have to do that. That was like, it's a weird, I say like a blessing, like to just have created that bit of freedom. And, because I don't feel like my job, as much as when you're the owner or the CEO, you're not, your time is not free. People think, oh, you're the boss, do whatever you want, right? It's not. It's like you're almost there. You're the bottleneck. If anything's coming on your desk, you're the guy that has to get it done so that everyone else can keep moving. And I never like to let things pile up on me. So it's definitely freeing, and I've enjoyed it, honestly. Like,
Great.
It doesn't feel like I was too soon or too slow, or it just feels like it all went according to a good plan. And it was 30 years almost to the month. So I kind of like round numbers. I'm like, that's good. Otherwise, you go do this, you do this forever. So it's been good.
We talked about that when you were here on, I don't remember, this week, a couple of days ago, about like, could you ever imagine yourself going back and getting involved? And for everyone listening, like, one of the things I talked with Erik about very openly when he was first discussing this idea of retiring or whatever we're calling it now. Have you come to terms with what to call it? Because you had a fancy term that was neither sabbatical nor retiring. I think you just said moving on before. You didn't really want to use
away. I don't know.
Stepping away. That's what it was.
I don't love retirement. It just
nice.
feels like an ending. I don't know. I still don't love that word, but my daughter was like, Dad, people are asking like what you're doing now, and they just tell them you're retired. I don't love the sound of that.
I don't like it either. I mean, I kind of don't feel like I'll ever
well, you're pretty active. Like
I'm doing boards. Yeah. So, I mean, I've always have all these things going on. So I kind of always say I'm never going to retire. Now, I don't want an operational role, so I'm clear on that. Right. But I've got to be doing something. I mean, right. I mean, I just kind of have to. It's more my personality. I'd go kind of crazy.
Yeah, but you actually are. We're like doing nothing. Erik, Shayna said the same thing to me. She said, you sound so weird. She just recommended I try sabbatical, and it just flowed and it was easy. And everybody knows sabbatical is I'm just taking some time off. Now, it's been a year and 3 weeks, but I found sabbatical. I don't like retired. And, we talked the other day, like, I loved what I did. I
always use sabbatical as like a sabbatical from the job, and then you can go back to that job. Now, obviously, it can mean whatever you want, but
that's true.
So that was just in my brain stuck, so I couldn't get. So I don't know. I'll have to figure something out. But that's why, like, if I can go back and teach at UNH or do something.
Yeah.
Oh, I teach over at UNH, or I invest in real estate, which I do. But like, I need something to call it, and I just haven't settled on anything.
I played with that a lot. Like, I was trying to figure out, like, if I did a business card, what would I put on the business card? Like, what would you say? Like, so I'm like advisor, investor. Like, I kind of like that. Now I'm an author, so I kind of have AIA. But, I did kind of, like, because people ask you, right? Well, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I would, on a business card, I would actually put what my LinkedIn profile says, right? Advisor, mentor, and investor, advisor, mentor, commerce, OG. Like that, I still literally do all of those things, right?
Yeah.
All of them every day. Like I mean, I skip a few, but no, it's been funny. And Erik, we had talked earlier about, what you do in your downtime. You spend more time with your kids, and you take more trips, you have more date nights, you have more time to yourself. And, the Costa Rica trip was a birthday present to his wife, which I thought was awesome. Way on the west side in the middle of the jungle doing a surf camp. That blew me away when you told me you were going to do that. And then you came home, you're only home for a couple of weeks, and then you took the kids too and went down to St. Lucia and spent a week down there. And dude, I was so proud when I saw you posting stuff. I've been in that bay. We actually went all in and around that bay where you guys stayed. We love it. We stayed.
Yeah, you were at Sugar Beach there, and we were at
and then Ladera at the top. Yeah.
Well, it's so funny. I mean, so we've never gone away for Christmas, and the kids' breaks are different weeks now. So in February, so we wouldn't be going. So we said, let's take a trip now. So we asked the kids, would you rather be gone for like New Year's or if we're gone for Christmas? And they said they want to be back for New Year's. I mean, they're teenagers. I don't know, big plans, I guess. But so we went on the 22nd, came back on the 30th, and it was awesome. And it was funny. It's a 2.5 hour drive from the airport when you land at St. Lucia to get to where we were staying at the north end of the island.
Yeah, you were waiting.
Yeah, and then as you're at the resort and you settle in, my son comes over at one point and he goes, "Hey, Dad, you can take a helicopter back?" And I'm like, he's like, that ride was awful, and it kind of was. But so we ended up doing a helicopter, and they'd give you a tour of the island, and then they drop you back off at the airport. So it was kind of like, tease up your Blade experience heading back. So
That's
good way
awesome.
to end the trip. And then we got back, and we've been up skiing, once or twice, but we don't do that as much. The kids have their licenses now, so they want to hang out with their friends and go ski and do their own thing. But yeah, we'll do a little skiing in the next few weeks and do that.
You doing more date nights? Like are you doing that yet? Have you started the date night thing? I had Rob Garf doing date nights during
Well,
his day.
I mean, I get up early, so it's kind of like date day. Like we'll go golf. She'll come with me in golf.
Same.
Yeah. So we'll do that. We've been, so she golfs, so she's coming with me for that. A lot of stuff with my daughter plays volleyball, so she's still pretty active. She's ski racing, so we're up at that. So things come up that are like go to the kids' events. Those kind of become still our dates a little bit. But yeah, it's good. Was actually out a bit last night, folks, too.
So let's dig into you and like your regimented schedule thing. Like you, even not working, feel like you need a schedule for every day, or it gets weak from you. Have you like just taken, like, have you ever said like for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'm literally nothing. Like I'm just going to get up, do my thing, and then let the day unfold. Like, do you allow yourself to do that? Because I feel like you're not getting up at 4:30 all the time, right? Yeah, unless you got to work out. You're sleeping till 5. So that's it.
Yeah. But you know what, T? I hate to say it, like you gotta learn about yourself. You think my anxiety goes up the more, like if it's so open, my head starts going, all right, I gotta go do something. I'll literally put the trash in the back of my truck and take it over to the dumpster at Pixel just because I'm like, all right, I gotta go do something, So I like that thing in the day that I can then build around. Right, I'm gonna have coffee with the guy downtown at 11, so therefore I got to get my workout done. I got to get, and like that structure. Then I'll come back, and then I'm like, all right, I did something, and move on. And then I get golf at 5. So I've settled in. Like I know I get golf scheduled to 3 and like Mondays and Wednesdays now. Yeah. Monday's my practice day, and Wednesdays like I invite someone to join me, and kind of rotate through that.
Yeah, I don't think you'll ever really kind of settle in and kind of crack the egg on this thing until it's going to happen. It happened to me, but you're going to have to at some point face the nothingness side of it. You got to kind of get into that at some point. Maybe that'll come at month 5 or 6 or whatever, but
yeah, there's definitely afternoons where it's wide open. But then I'm like, this is so cool. Like, all right, I'm going to grab a book. I'm going to go do this. If it's too wide open, like a couple, 3, it just can't be so wide open that's like, where do I go from here? Unless I said, hey, it's all wide open. Great. I'm going to go drive up north and go skiing or something. I've been scheduling little things, but strategically, right? You don't want to have like something at 10 and something at 3. And now your whole day is like waiting for these 2 calls. Right. You're going to have a couple calls, do them right together, boom, be done. And then have some freedom. So I don't know, like, how do you, Rich, do you manage your day like that? Like,
I'm more like you, and I have stuff every day. Like, I don't know if rarely will I have a fully open day. No, I was going to say tomorrow, but that's not even tomorrow. I've got some meetings and stuff, but I like to have stuff to do. I still get a lot of emails, so and that's a constant thing for me to keep up with email, right? I think I'm on 5 or 6 boards now. So, I still get a lot of stuff, right? And I get anxiety. I'm probably like you, Eric. Like I get anxiety if my inbox is like, I try to keep my inbox to like under 50, right? I'm very regimented about my I use Outlook, right? So I file things, what's in my inbox I still need to address. And then I even file my sent. I think we talked about this. Like when I send something to someone, I'll file the stuff out of there, I'll delete it, and I leave things in there I'm waiting to hear back from. So I look at my sent, those are the things I'm waiting to hear back from. I look at my inbox, those are the things I need to respond to. So, I'm super on it. And I just always have been, right? And so that's how I manage my life. But if it gets like over 100 and, I get a little anxious. Like I know I have to kind of catch up. And I get there's a lot of bullshit in there too. Like I still read a lot of the trade rags and, there's stuff in there that, sometimes I'll just go through and delete it. But, I like to scan things so that sits in my inbox for a while until I get through it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I keep a to-do list, right? I use Evernote. I keep a to-do list of things that are kind of there that I need to get to. And sometimes it's not things I have to get to right away. Nice.
Well, it's funny. I settled on this little, what's it called? Planner, this era. Kind of it's supposed to be like a quarterly thing, and every day I flip the page, I write out my to-do. I got to write. I can't just do it electronically. That I've known that, but
I'm with you. I have to write it down.
Yeah,
I
I
used
was a
to be
little
that
lost
way,
with that in
but
the
I
beginning.
kind of changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because nothing's as urgent. I used to, when it was more urgent, I used to have to write it. But
What did you say? You were a little lost in the beginning, Eric, without
Well, because that's the other thing that disappears, right? That regiment. Every day you get to work, you do this, you do that. Like, so now it's like, well, when am I going to do like those tidy up things I like to do to keep my life managed, right? Am I going to do it in the morning? Am I do it at night? And I like after I get back from the gym, whatever, like get my coffee, sit and just kind of do my thing. The kids get ready for, the other thing is I make my kids breakfast, at least my son,
that's nice.
which I haven't done that ever. I mean, he's 17 and I'm like, and my Rachel's like, well, I can do. I'm like, no, I want to do it. Like, I mean, I literally whip up 3 fried eggs and like a bagel.
That's great.
But he gets to come down and I sit and then I make my breakfast. Like that's again, it's the 20, 30 minutes I'll see him before he takes off and then he's gone. I mean, he drives himself to school.
But I think like similar to you, Eric, like the workout is kind of a lifesaver for me. You know what I mean? Like I kind of feel like if I miss and so, I might take a day off, so I'm not saying that, but if I miss a couple of days in a workout, I feel like that's really bad. It's kind of a foundation for my day, like you're saying, like where am I getting my workout in?
Yeah.
It's funny that it's interesting that you guys have that perspective because I'm probably the exact opposite, right? Like I'm so used to, even in the agency space, having to be fluid. Like I just never knew what sort of chaos I was going to deal with or what kind of choreography challenge was going to be given at me. I kind of took the Buffett method, to be honest. I have things scheduled, but I have large blocks of purposeful nothing on my calendar. And I do have a calendar, by the way, because I want Shannon to know what's going on and I need to know sometimes, right? But I actually have large chunks of unstructured time on purpose. And my workouts are every other day and pretty regimented. I like the nothingness. Because Eric, you've been over here. I mean, I got no shortage of things to do in the house, around the house, a dog, friends, all that stuff. And then what I do is just in the moment, I decide what I'm going to do. Also, I actually keep large blocks of time open for me all the time, so that I actually have the freedom to move within there or not. Like I do a lot of enrichment. I don't know if we've talked about this, Rich or Eric, but
No.
I spend hours a day, like staying sharp, right? Taking training, looking at courses, reading up on AI as a practitioner.
But that's not nothing.
No, but
I
it's
think
scheduled. It's
right.
my point.
Well,
It's that I give myself large blocks of time to then just sort of let it be what it is. Like I knew I was getting bored when I started bringing my trash to the dump when they pick up, right? That's when you've reached the ultimate boredness, is when you're like, I'm going to put all these boxes in my truck that they're going to pick up in 2 days and I'm going to bring them today.
Yeah. But learning, I think learning is a category of stuff, right?
It is, but
Right,
I don't schedule it.
I signed up. So I got an email from UNH. I mean, I'm trying to kind of follow what's going on, getting a little more looped on UNH. And so I got a course on an AI prompting course. It was like a 5-week online thing. So I'm like, all right, well, we all know how to go do like a prompt, but there's probably a lot of nuances that, like I could learn about if I spent the time. And so I signed up for this course and I'm going through this kind of 5-week thing. They release it on Monday, got to go through the content, do a little module. So it's probably 6-8 hours a week, but that's that, So I think learning new things, like that's why I did the surf camp, right? You're going away and you're just kind of like turning something on. These, and then the ones that really gravitate, you kind of will continue with. Some you might, you know what, that was good, but I'm not going to continue. I think was I learning a piano song last week? I was teaching myself piano based on YouTube videos. I was learning how to play Home Sweet Home, Motley Crue.
You haven't told me that one.
All right, well that I'm learning on a keyboard that's upstairs, but
we were trying to unravel our lease. That was most.
I was gonna do the piano thing. I bought a little keyboard and all that, and I took some lessons because we have a piano in Chicago, but then I kind of dropped it. I don't know. It's like I start these things and then it's hard. And then we were taking Spanish, because we're down here in Mexico. And it was great for the 3 months we're here, but then you have 9 months that you just fucking forget everything. And then you're like, so we kind of gave up on
Were you using an app or were you trying to learn?
No, we used an actual person.
Oh.
Like we had a Zoom with a woman in Mexico City. And, so we were learning, I was like, I should know Spanish, right? I'm down here for 3 months. Everyone speaks English, though. But
yeah.
But it's
You should
hard
pick
too. Like
random.
learning a language, I took it in high school or whatever, but it's not that easy. Do either of you guys speak another language?
No,
Yeah.
it's again. I mean, I took French in high school for a couple of years, right? I mean, my last name is Dodier, so French Canadian. So I get a couple French phrases that I can
Yeah.
blurt out if I had to, but no.
I don't actually speak it, but I do have some choice memorizations, and I can count to 8 in Spanish. But
DJ speaks TJ.
yeah,
That's his, right. So
late at night, I sometimes text
he's got
swipe.
his own. He's invented his own foreign language sometimes.
Well, sometimes, but it all makes sense if you actually listen and
Yeah.
reread it 3 times. But too many periods, not enough commas. But that's all good. So what do you got planned now, Eric? Like you're 113 days in.
Yeah. Well, I got to get some other trip on the calendar, which is nothing now. The son is starting to do school stuff, so we can kind of use going to visit schools as a reason to go different places.
Cool.
So there might be a ski trip or something out west if we get on that. But nothing else planned. So what's going on? Like I was catching up with a guy yesterday on our real estate, so I went downtown and did that. The UNH thing's on my mind because I got to find a way to engage. I think being around young people on a university and a college, like it's a way to kind of stay young, stay active. So I'm going to kind of follow that one, but just maybe go back, do some guest speaking over there. I think I told you, T, there's like the local TEDx Portsmouth thing going on. Maybe get, do something there. Stay engaged in those ways. Keep the health thing going. Do some skiing, but like I said, I'm not overly planning, but I feel like I got these buckets that it's just, you got to let it naturally flow, and that's where my energy's going. So clearly I have some passion for these areas. So that's where I'm going to spend my time.
It's funny. I was just talking with a good buddy of mine about like, where am I going to start to put my energy? Because I'm at that, like, I got to figure out something to do. I got to do a little bit more than I'm doing right now. And I love what you said about UNH, which is, by the way, a local university here in New Hampshire that Eric graduated from. And we helped build the business school. Actually, we have our
name is, yeah.
Our plaque is still
cool.
out there. But he had suggested that I look at incubators and like incubating organizations and just freely like inquire about, hey, do you need somebody that's been in this area or has these skills, has this level of time, just to, find that next us, right? And I think, we've talked about it a lot. And if you listen to the podcast, and there's always this dialogue about paying it forward and how do we find that next generation of, Rich, T, and Eric. And so I don't know, I might do that. He hooked me into, he brought up the whole plug and play thing, which I don't know if you know them, but they're a huge global incubator. But I know that Josh Sear is also doing an entrepreneur academy or
East
Center for Entrepreneurship or something like that over there.
Oh, dude, he'd love. I mean, if you went over there and talked to some of those kids, he'd love it.
We've had that dialogue, and I've offered, and maybe I need to be more forceful, but he seems to have his hands full, or maybe
we got to set it up. I mean, I think he could. There's probably certain kids over there that they'd be responsive. But I thought, were you doing the Big Brother thing too?
I am actually. I just got formal notice this week that I'm approved, and they're just trying to find me they're trying to find me a good match. So I went through all the training, and there's actually a martial arts thing next weekend they want me to go hold pads for. But yeah, so I'm approved. Now I'm just waiting for a little, and I'm actually, I'm excited but nervous about that as well, because that is what that is. But yeah, that's all good. Dylan's here right now.
Yeah, T, you're in your own world. You got one at college, you got kids working, you're in the whole other world.
Yeah. Well, I got Jack was home for a month, so I got one down in Boston at one of the Fenway universities. Dylan's going to Great Bay Community College here, which oddly enough, Eric and I used to speak at a lot. Eric did a commencement speech at one of their graduations, and I got an honorary degree. But Dylan's going to business school there. Yeah, it's actually right up there.
It's a real moment.
It was a real moment.
I do the commencement speech at this, community college, which was awesome, and then TJ gets a honorary degree at the, so we're both up there together. That was hilarious. That was like 2011, 12.
I don't know. I can pull it down, but I had like the bib and the hat or whatever they call it.
Yeah.
And I got to talk, which was cool. which was pretty funny, but I don't think anybody expected what came out of my mouth. But no, it's interesting. It's different. I mean, I'm just in a different phase. Technically, I'm an empty nester, and the only thing keeping me from traveling more is the puppy. So it is what it is. But no,
Good timing to get a dog, right when you get the chance to travel.
well, I was I went to NRF too. So I don't know if you saw all that, Eric. I didn't write much about it, but I went to NRF because it's where all my buddies are, right? It's like literally 1,000 of us kind of get together in the ecosystem. So going down there was cool. I didn't see you, Rich, till the last day, which was kind of weird, but I brought Jackson down before he went back to school and just showed him around the city. We just stayed in a different part. We were in Midtown West. Introduced him to Rob Garf.
Great.
Just brought him around, introduced him to some friends, and then did what we usually do, the gathering of wolves and at various places, the Electric Lemon. And
Well, this is the first
Rich,
time Gertrude came with me. So my wife came with me, and then my daughter Hannah. I don't know, Eric, you probably know because you heard, but she works for Red Van now. So
yeah, I
she's
saw
in
her
the,
a couple
she's
times
in the
at
industry.
Dreamforce.
yeah, Dreamforce. Yeah, Billy Nava's event. And that was the first time you met Dylan too, actually. Dylan Runny. But no, it was good. It was a good thing. And then the other thing we didn't talk about is that Rich and Dylan and I went and crashed the PAB, Partner Advisory Board for Commerce Cloud Social, the night before they had their big meeting, and just got to see everybody, which was awesome.
It was
Rich, I think we
awesome.
can officially say that half of the PAB worked at Lions at one point or another. So pretty
About
good
half. Yeah,
pollination
there's a
plan
lot.
there.
I think Nicole's the only one from when we were on it, right?
Correct. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm not sure how that happens, but I assume it's an
So
Accenture thing.
For another day, or you have full edit mode, I was notified that you had shown up at the pad. Just so you know.
How did you get notified?
Let's just say the sources still circle back.
Come on.
Swear to
What
God.
does notified mean? I can't wait to hear this story.
I was made aware that, well, it was pretty easy. Like, it was kind of a, why is TJ at the pab? And I'm like, don't know. I mean,
Well, I
How did
wasn't at the PAB. They were doing
It
a
was
dinner the
dinner.
night before the
All righty. Ended kind of sudden, but that is the end of part one. So look for part two in the next couple of weeks, where we get into pretty deep business dialogues around when we knew it was time to pivot throughout our 30 years, and a little sage advice from Erik on understanding when it's time to go and sort of what that arc of progress looks like over 30 years. So thanks for listening. I appreciate it. Bye.